On Easter weekend, just days ago, the nation was riveted by what turned out to be the single most daring search and rescue operation in American military history. The successful recovery of a downed U.S. airman from behind enemy lines deep inside Iranian territory. A mission President Trump called an Easter miracle, a testament to the courage and skill of the men and women who refused to leave one of their own behind. However, while our nation was on its knees in prayer and on its feet in celebration, one wacko woman in Michigan was on her phone, posting a TikTok video expressing hope that Iran would find that soldier first. She rooted for him to be captured, held as a hostage. Keep in mind, a hostage in Iran. And she thought her video would go viral among her fellow left-wing lunatics. But what happened next didn't end as she planned. You are not going to want to miss this. Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, your Patriot Professor, here to help you make sense of the madness with breaking news and analysis you're not going to get anywhere else. So you know what to do. Make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. Meet Melissa Halverson. Melissa is a far left-wing lunatic whose TDS knows no bounds. It even extends into her rooting for Iranian forces to capture a downed U.S. pilot.
When you're at war with somebody, guess what that other country does? Exactly what they've been doing through history all this time, right? You take them hostage and you use them for leverage. So guess what Iran did? They put a bounty out on his head, and whoever finds him gets a great award. I can't wait. Hopefully it's like money or jewels. I hope the person who finds him is very poor and ends up being very wealthy. And I hope Iran holds their promise.
Now, this deranged lunatic, you heard her reference the bounty that the regime offered for whoever captured the downed pilot. She doesn't appear to be aware of the fact that the Iranian regime actually has no money. The rial, the currency of Iran, has lost 20,000% of its value since 1979. They're currently experiencing 40% inflation. It gets even worse. They actually have an unprecedented water shortage. But what are facts when you're infested with woke insanity like that? And that's literally what we just saw there. We just saw a grown woman look into the camera and say that she hoped Iranian forces found him first and that they would use him, our fellow American, as leverage. She was literally rooting for a foreign enemy government to capture an American serviceman and use him as a bargaining chip against his own country. Not as a protest, not as a policy critique, but as a wish, as her hope, as something she apparently thought was worth broadcasting to the world with her face on camera, her name attached. Now, this is where this story gets very interesting. You see, apparently, a military mom whose own son was currently deployed was watching her phone. And that military mother, God bless her, saw this video, and here's what she had to say.
Have you ever been so angry that you could literally spit fire? Because that's me right now. I am a military mom of a soldier that is currently deployed abroad. And this video just showed up on my For You page. I try very hard to be careful with what I say and how I say it, but just know that I'm having to restrain myself right now from the words that I actually want to tell you, because none of it's kind and none of it's good. How dare you and people like you sleep under the blanket of freedom provided by people like my son, who are serving our country or have served our country all over the world, are away from their families, protecting our freedoms so that you can run your mouth and be an asshole like you are. I would say go to hell, but you're already headed there.
Hear, hear, bravo! Do not mess with a military mom. They are the salt of the earth. Well, the good news is that military mom's video went even more viral than Nutty Melissa's video. The whole of America saw it. And what happened next is one of those rare moments where the internet actually works the way it's supposed to. The military mom's rebuttal went viral, millions of views, and in its wake, a very simple question started circulating online. Who is this woman, and does her employer know what she just said? It didn't take long. Wait until you see this. But first, what if I told you there's a little known arbitrage opportunity hiding inside a $30 billion market? That's right, billion with a B. And ordinary people with no background in finance or tech are quietly pulling in $5,000, $10,000, even $20,000 a month from it, all from a laptop. Yeah, I know it sounds too good to be true, but here's what's actually happening. There's a very real pricing gap in the used book market where the same book can sell for dramatically different amounts depending on the platform. And the people who figured out how to find and capitalize on that gap are building real lasting income. And here's what makes this completely unlike anything else out there. You never touch a single book. No inventory in your garage, no post office runs, no logistics headaches of any kind, because the entire operation runs from your browser. You spot the opportunity, you make a few clicks, and someone else handles all the fulfillment for you. And I want to be clear, this is not a side hustle that earns you a little extra spending money. This is a legitimate business model that people are running full time right now. Many of them have left behind careers that they frankly weren't passionate about, and they're having the time of their lives doing this. That's why I'm personally hosting a free live training where I'm going to pull back the curtain and show you exactly how this works. Step by step, no fluff, no filler, just the real mechanics of how to find these opportunities and what to do with them. And I've done a deep dive on this, and I genuinely cannot wait to share what I found. So click the link below or type bkprofit.com/Turley. That's bkprofit.com/Turley in your browser, or scan the QR code on your screen to reserve your free spot right now. Gang, you do not want to miss this one. So it turns out that her name was Melissa Halverson, and her employer was the Green Apple Pantry, a nonprofit food organization in Grand Rapids, Michigan. Her husband's business, her family farm, it all surfaced. It all circulated. And her employer was flooded with messages from across the country. Now, for her part, rather than apologize, Halverson deleted her TikTok account. She accused MAGA supporters of doxing her. So she doubled down. She played the victim, of course. And then the Green Apple Pantry released an official statement. The statement was unambiguous. Quote, Melissa Halverson is no longer an employee of the Green Apple Pantry. The organization stated directly that it has a zero-tolerance policy for any form of hateful or discriminatory conduct, and they made it absolutely clear that her views in no way represent the values or mission of the organization. And so the woman who wished that one of our finest would be captured by Iranian forces is gone. She is fired. Done. And, we should note this actually has nothing to do with free speech, right? Make sure you know that. It's got nothing to do with free speech, and that's because free speech has never meant freedom from consequences. You're free to say whatever you want. That don't mean your employer is going to want to have anything to do with you after you say it. Right? The Green Apple Pantry is a private organization. They got every right to determine who represents their mission and their brand. And apparently, rooting for a foreign enemy to capture one of our soldiers does not align with distributing food to people in need. Shocking, I know. But what was really on display in that, let's face it, that rather sick, unhinged video wasn't just a slap in the face of the most basic form of patriotism. I mean, rooting against our own soldiers' well-being and welfare. It was, just from a human standpoint, unspeakably vile and cruel. I can't help but keep thinking the poetic justice of a military mom being the one to call this liberal lunatic out. That could not have been better scripted. This video underscored the fact that the party of compassion, the party that claims to defend the downtrodden, has collapsed into utter maniacal darkness. And this woman, she's the face of a political movement that truly believes that Western civilization is the single worst evil on the planet. And that third world rebellion against the supposed oppression of Western civilization is a moral imperative, as is supporting that rebellion, even rooting for it when it involves capturing one of your own soldiers. So as a result, let this hit you. Women, okay? Women in the West are supporting the Ayatollah and the Iranian regime. That is one of the worst women's rights records of any country in the world. Again, the radical performative inconsistency here is beyond stunning in terms of how utterly stupefying TDS renders those infected with it. Think about it. What would have happened to her if she actually lived in Iran and uploaded a video like that inside Iran that was as critical of the regime and its forces as it was of our own military? What would have happened to her? She'd be, you know exactly, she'd be in an Iranian jail cell as we speak. She'd probably end up being hanged, executed for treason. The very fact that she felt so completely free to upload that video here in this country reveals that she had no fear whatsoever that anything comparable would happen to her if she had done it in Iran. Her freedom to upload that video completely vindicates Western civilization and undermines her entire third worldist worldview. That's the performative inconsistency of lunatic leftists. Unfortunately for her, that airman came home. He's alive. He's back with his very grateful family because American soldiers went into hostile territory and refused to leave without him. That's who we are at our best. And Melissa Halverson, who bet on his capture, who wished for his exploitation, who thought she could post that with impunity, is sitting at home today unemployed, adored by no one. That's what happens when the best of America shows up.